Hello, 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 and welcome to at least part, a little slice of the world of Commodore. Today I'm looking at the oldest, perhaps rarest machine that I have. Perhaps this is indeed a Chiclet keyboard pet. And I have never, ever had one before that has this model of cassette drive. I haven't looked at it. I haven't done anything. I did turn this on. And, well, it doesn't work. But I haven't started to tinker at all with it. And I haven't tidied up the front. Anyway, as you can see, the Commodore is blue and red. The 2001 series is blue. Most of the other machines, eventually, this turned into either silver or black, silver or white, as did this. And the cassette drive that's in here does not look like the others. The first one I ever saw was in most of the small keyboard pets. It is. This one, of course, does not have an ejection. You have to lift. Now, have I even tested this? No. Does it look complete? It does. But I have to get the machine working to test it. Or I could try plugging it into another machine, I suppose. But I have not. I have not done anything to tidy this machine up a bit. It is a little, well, dirt slowly accumulates over the ages. There's a couple of funny things with the keyboard. I think some keycaps were replaced. Obviously, some of the keys have been used very well, such as the return key, which is almost worn out. And yeah, I think there were some other modifications made over the years. But I don't think this thing was used a whole lot. I know it came from somebody who was an employee at Commodore. It did. And story is, I think, actually, they're at some meeting or something, and somebody had a pet that seemed to be in some level of distress, so they actually swapped. So this was not the original one that the person got from Commodore. This is the one they took back to Commodore to get corrected, as they had very nicely said to the customer out in the field somewhere, "Oh, that's okay, you can take mine, I'll take that back, we'll get it fixed." Now I'm not sure if it ever got fixed. Anyway, I never, ever, before I got this, I've seen pictures of these, but I never had one. And from what I know, the board should be very similar to what's in the other Chiclet pets that I have around here, and I think there are, there are 4 others, not all totally complete. One thing that is absolutely different, this opening for this cassette drive is different than on all the others. It's I think a little smaller, because the other drive, I think, it's a little wider. It might have a little bit of a curviness to it. Anyway, while we're here, let's open it up. Hello. Let's open it up with great care to find the leg, just like a car. And if we take a gander in there, oh, I see the monitor cable has come undone. Have I got that the right way? I do. I'll just stick that in, I think, if I can do it safely. Certainly don't want to break something after all this time. Anyway, as with many of these old things, pretty much all the main chips are socketed. Amen. So it shouldn't be too hard, at least to take them out and to test them in another machine and see what's what. It should not The machine itself looks pretty good. I mean, it's dusty inside, but it hasn't suffered vast quantities of water damage or anything else that I can tell. It seems pretty okay. And if you can see over here, maybe I will use this hand. All these chips across here, and there are 16 of them, those are RAM chips. They are often the failure. Often. And apparently they can be got, but they're not cheap. Behind the RAM chips are the ROM chips, of which there are 7. There are 7. And moving back, there are other things like the 6502 and such. Now, the other thing that's really critical, if you ever get a pet like this, and it is not just working perfectly, is right. Oh, can I get something to point with? I should have had something to point with. I'll try and get my hand in here. Right back here, there are 2 sockets with chips in them that look remarkably like the RAM chips in the front. That is because, indeed, they are the same RAM chip. So I have found the best way and the fastest way, and perhaps the most accurate way, to check is if I turn on a machine like this and it's not working. I was told, and this was at one of the TPUG meetings, well, to have the machine working, or to try and come up, see, they don't, this one has 8K. It doesn't need all that memory to operate. I mean, it's not going to operate well. You're not going to be able to load in lots of stuff. But all it needs is these 4 chips here. And if you've got good working RAM in there and the rest of the machine is working, it will come up and it will tell you that I think it's 1049 bytes free. I think. I could be mistaken, but I think it is. And that the machine itself takes a little RAM. But if it comes up and it says that, you're good. And then what you can do is take out one of the screen RAM chips way up in the top there, and one by one put your other RAM chips in, making sure you get them in the right way, and you're very careful not to bend the pins and such, and turn it on. And if the screen doesn't come up nicely, probably that RAM chip is bad and you should set it aside. Now, the other thing is, of course, if you first turn on a machine like this and the screen doesn't come up nice, it's possible, and from what I found, very likely, that the screen RAM is the culprit. So, of course, the first thing to do would be to reset the screen RAM chips. Make sure that they are nicely reset, like either push down or gently pull them out a bit and put them back in, because there can be micro corrosion over the years. There can be. And try again. I mean, do all this with the machine turned off, of course. Turn it back on, see if anything changes. If it doesn't change, then it is quite possible that there is something wrong with one or both of the screen RAM chips. If you have the luxury of having another machine like this close at hand, you could just check the RAM chips one at a time, all of them, in the other machine that is working. That is not always possible, though. So the thing I have done is basically I will take out the RAM chips and lay them on the table in the same configuration that I took them out, except leave 4 in the end there, and keep swapping one of them, looking for any changes at all. And hopefully eventually I can get some indication that I might have good RAM in the screen RAM, and keep on checking and testing. Once again, much easier if you have another identical machine right there. But that is not always possible. So, but just, be careful. Take your time. It's not a race. And see what's what. I would bet when I look at this machine, and we could plug it in right now. We could. Maybe we will. By the way, in the bottom of this, rattling around, I think I found a RAM chip. Yes, I think I will take the leg and slip it back into its holder and put this down. And we'll reach around here, and I find this cord, most cords I found on pets are round. This one is flat. Anyway, it is, of course, an older original. And you know, they weren't, not all things were finalized. So I think I need to unplug something here. Perhaps I will unplug my phone charger. I will check, make sure the power switch is indeed off. It is. The power switch, by the way, is red. And most of them, on most pets that I know of, are black, but this one is red. So it has been a long time. I did power it on when I was first looking at it, and I do believe strange things came up on the screen. But that's been some months. I'm not sure how many months. Not a year, but some months. So I think I will turn it on. Now, good things I hear there. This, oh yeah. Yes, there are strange things on the screen. But the cassette drive, a word, as if something was saying to it, hello, wake up. And I'm not sure. No, it does not. Okay. Nothing else seems to be happening with it, but at least in the startup, it's word. So there is something up on the screen. Now, it's strange. Oftentimes I find when screen RAM is bad, it's more than that that's bad. But once again, you never know. You just never know. So what I'm going to do is turn it off. Everything like that looks good. This also made a noise. And I'm just going to see if the screen RAM stuff looks the same. And I don't know if it's identical, but it's certainly, the shape of it is similar. So, okay, I'm going to just look and make note that there's a whole lot of Q's in there. And funny little, like, quarter square things. And just see. By the way, I don't just turn it off and on real quick. I give it a moment to breathe. Maybe 10 or 15 seconds. And then I apply power. And yeah, it does look rather, I can't say identical, but I think it's identical, or very close to it. This is one time that I would guess there's a good chance that it's screen RAM that has failed. But am I in a position to actually do that now and swap out the chips? No, not really. The chip, the RAM chips are in the back. They're kind of hard to get at. I've really got to turn things around and maybe even disconnect the cassette. And anyway, I've just got to get it in a better configuration so that I can, with great confidence, reach in, take things out, put things in, making sure that they're actually in properly. And see, but actually what I really should do, I suppose, as I was talking about it before, is I should get and do the RAM chip testing with one of the other machines that I have that are like this. This is why I have not been in a hurry to get rid of these machines, although I will probably be selling most of them. And that is so that I can check things on something that I know is working. So I am thinking that I will, but not quite. See, I'm still gathering pets. I've found another, this is one that I freed up today to move in here. And then there's a 4032 with a big screen, otherwise known as a Fat 40 with bigger characters, often favored in the school setting. But I believe the board can be either an 8032 or a 4032, depending on some changes. But I have not tinkered with such things. Anyway, I digress. So I have available here at least one other small screen pet that, from what I know, is just dandy and happy and working. I think there's actually two that are pretty dandy. One of them is having, of all things, cassette drive issues. It doesn't want to read and write. Very strange. I've often heard of the demagnetizing the head, because I do remember that I did a test where I was able to connect a different data set to that same pet, and it did read and it did write. So I know that it's nothing on the main board. It's something within the data set. It is. Anyway, as I leave this here, I wanted to let it warm up a bit. I'm going to turn it off again for about 10 or 15 seconds. Turn it back on, see if anything has changed. I don't believe anything will have changed, but you never know, you know. So, time to turn it on. And we will see pretty much the same. Pretty much. Anyway, the earliest of the pets, of course, had this, which was colored, this, which was colored. The outside of the screen, the bezel, is blue. I don't know how many they made before they switched to black. I have one other blue bezeled pet, but it has a large keyboard, and it also has a funny thing coming out of the back that looks like a video adapter of some sort, which leads me to think it was used in some sort of school or university setting. And at some point, after it was gotten, the actual case and the keyboard were upgraded. Because, of course, the Chiclet keyboard, it's, you know, it's the first thing. It's what, you know, the collectors want. But it's really not great. It really is not good for typing or for much of anything else. And it works. You can get by on it. But it's not good. It's not. I mean, having the cassette built is fine and dandy, and I suppose helpful. It certainly can't be lost unless somebody opens up the machine and takes it out and unscrews it and does all that. But a full-size keyboard took the machine from being like a cute little oddity into, hey, well, we can really do something with this. And I remember listening to my mother bang away on my pet. But she, who learned on manual typewriters, she used to hit the keys hard. Hard. Sounded like thunder. Anyway. Big keyboard, much better. Anyway, I'll have to check out the other such machine and also that funny circuit that I think gives some sort of video signal, because it's not working. And I did tinker on it somewhat, but have not had success with it. But the bezel is blue. That is why people think that is what happened. That basically, not the black part, not this part, but this part of the machine was taken out. Oh, the other thing, the reason people think that is the nameplate is missing. So there were supposedly, besides Commodore, other people that sold these upgrade kits to the big keyboard. Could have been one of them. Anyway, I will turn this off. I still hear a little bit of a whir in the data set when I do that. And I will let it cool down, and I've got to, do some more stuff to move more machines in here, because the whole thing is I'm trying to get them all together in one spot at one time. And then I can do all the assessing and then see what's staying and what's going, and look for suitable homes to that I might sell some of these things to. Perhaps. Indeed. Anyway, well, that's enough for today on this machine. So thanks for coming. Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll get it working. I've had pretty good luck with these. Usually it's RAM. But having other machines handy, if it's something else, at least I can figure it out. And undoubtedly, of the 5 machines Let me check that. Yeah, 5 small Chiclet pets. I'm sure I'm not going to get them all working, so there will be parts available from some that will be donors, and also from the big keyboard blue thing. There will be parts, I'm thinking. So I'll try and get as many as I can going, and then see what else can be done. Anyway, well, thanks for dropping in and saying hello to this old pet. Well, let me look at the board. Oh, it's over there somewhere. I'm sure this is a 1977 board, so this machine would now be in the vicinity of 45 years old, and still highly prized. Anyway, enough for now. Thanks for coming. Stay tuned for more episodes as I gather and assess and tell stories. Many, many stories. And because I really don't want to tinker with this video and edit it, I'm going to get up. I'm going to walk over here, and I'm going to say bye for now.